Alright, lords and ladies, welcome back to the Exile Diary, a dialogue episode. We needed to go back to Tarly for my rewards for breaking some eggs, the glyph, from breaking some eggs, the glyph, quest. So, let's talk to him.
So, you opened the tidal passage and lived to tell the tale. Forgive me if I don't seem over the moon about it. I was running down a wounded rower one night's eve when I glimpsed something in the watery cave, behind the mists of the falls. Looked a bit like one of those sand spitters, with the size of a bloody ox. I reckon it'll be nesting down in the flooded depths somewhere, below that submerged tunnel. If you're going that way then, do us a favor. Take this and go spill the old shield crab's guts before it gets hungry and comes looking for us.
Alright. Let's get Molten Shell then. Yeah, Molten Shell's pretty much the best defensive skill we were going to probably get ever, because it gives a lot of armor, additional armor. Alright, let's look if there's any swords we can buy or even equip. Nope. We've got pretty much the best sword we can get. Alright.
Greetings.
Now, what can you say about Lioneye's watch?
The walls of this old ruin, Lioneye's watch. Defensible enough with a few stout, well-armed veterans. But what have I got? Starving exiles with driftwood clubs and rusted dirks.
So these are ruins of a once, somewhat bigger fortress, civilization, village, whatever.
The Eternal Empire has some right nasty leftovers. Whether it's something in the air or in the water, no one stays dead in Rayclast. Not the first time. It can take a little while, but sooner or later corpses wake up and go looking for breakfast.
So there is something in the Eternal Empire, which is the land that the Karui so savagely invaded, for, how stupid that turned out to be. And yeah, that causes people to rise from the dead. Thank you for that information.
Rowers? Overgrown chickens with a murderous streak. Easy enough to bring down, one by one, but just don't get surrounded by them. They'll talon your guts out and snap you up like a big fat worm. If you get the chance, have a rifle through their nests. The bros are a bit like magpies. Got an eye for what shines.
So that's a hint for the quests we just did. Scavengers?
The scavengers, orphans of the Eternal Empire who've forgotten what it's like to be civilized. Especially the likes of Fire Fury and Hailrake. Make the undead look like responsible citizens. And you know why the scavengers aren't banging on our gates right now? Too busy killing and cooking each other. It's a man-eat-man world out there.
So the scavengers are...
The scavengers, orphans of the Eternal Empire who've forgotten what it's like to be civilized. Especially the likes of Fire.
The citizens of the Eternal Empire who survived the Karui invasion, or citizens of the Eternal Empire who, just like us, got exiled, but, didn't quite keep their minds straight? That's the question. Alright. Talking about keeping your mind straight, let's listen what he has to say about Vestal.
Vestal's a strange fish. Best taken salted. That hat he wears? Plucked it right off the real captain's head. Captain didn't mind. Generous fellow. Had given the rest of himself to the scavengers already.
Well, he doesn't state anything about that Vestal isn't, the brightest one here, but alright.
Ness is the best of us. Not one of Dominus's exiles. A wreck survivor. She keeps us from losing what's left of our minds. Salem's sweet tongue sang it right. The fairest flowers bloom in the foulest places.
Well, she has a motherly instinct, so yeah. Alright. Besto, my man. What have you got to say?
Poor Nessa. Not even a mother herself, and yet she cares for us all. And what a sickly, pathetic brood we are. May she live to have her own family, a real family. If anyone deserves that, Nessa does.
Alright. Besto, even if he's strange, he is pretty, friendly. In any case.
Tarkly, rescued from the waves. A stricken Bestel, fate's slave. From fallen crew and broken bark, Bestel lives, thanks to Tarkly.
Well, alright, Tarly rescued him. Sure. Alright, the drowned then.
Arrow, the Merry Gull's cook, washed up on the rocks over yonder. Dead as a doornail he was, buried him myself. Then, a few days later, I see him on the beach. A little worse for wear, but upright, shuffling about. A land full of disturbing surprises, this Rayclast.
Oh, you haven't seen you haven't seen anything yet, Besto. Rayclast is indeed full of surprises.
One day we'll be strong enough to make our way inland, build new lives on the carcass of a dead empire. It's why God sent us maggots here, isn't it?
Hopefully. And hopefully the god you're speaking of isn't, the one causing all this. Hopefully.
Be careful.
Nessa, what have you got to say about Tarly?
Buckley's as good a man as you can find on this godforsaken coast. He has some wrongs to right, no doubt. What they are, I don't really care. If not for him, we'd all be dead.
True.
Surviving in Rayclast is a simple matter. Don't be curious.
No.
Most exiles test fate, braving the coasts in hopes of taking Prisoner's Gate to greener pastures. None have returned. Perhaps they were right, or perhaps their lives were dashed as quickly as their hopes.
Well, I'm strong enough to be curious.
Don't tell Tarkley, but they're the foulest fowl I've ever tasted. Still, exiles can't be choosers.
If you're hungry, everything tastes good. I mean, that's what I've always experienced.
Bestel's ship tore its belly open on the rocks out there, trying to escape from corsairs. The pirates took what they wanted. The scavengers took the rest. Tarkley pulled Bestel from some hideaway in the wreckage, the only one on board to survive. Whether the ordeal turned his mind, or whether it's just his nature, Bestel sails on a different course to the rest of us.
Yeah, she tells you that Vestal isn't the straightest man, the smartest man alive.
Hello.
Alright, Navali, what does the prophet has to say about Rayclast?
I traveled here through death's darkened halls, walking the paths of the remembered. I am but a memory of the woman I was. A memory treasured and sustained by the mother of death.
Alright.
I awoke in the halls of death, with the life I once led little more than a dream half remembered. Yama the White, my furry companion, stood before me with the seeing stone he holds now. Both were given a hair of Hinekora's dark knowledge, but each serves a separate purpose. The seeing stone drags me deep into its core, where every instant into eternity is known all at once, like limitless rings on a tree trunk. Yama, like a torch in the mist, guides me back from the stone's infinite visions.
So, the monkey or whatever it is actually saved her from the clutches of death? Or, just brought her spirit back, because she is kind of purplish and she now uses his stone to see into the future? I don't know. Tell me more about my gods.
Hinekora, my mother of death, is not the only god, Exile. The Karui are watched over by many. Namahu lends us fire, which illuminates the path. Tafor gives us the trees and birds that line the path, so that we may enjoy beauty and peace. Tukohama provides us with weapons and knowledge of war, which lets us walk the path safely. And in the final days of this world, Kitava, whose hunger knows no bounds, will take it all away.
I will try to actually stop that. I actually do not know if you know, the interpretation of the sort of final boss is, you know, that it represents his, or, you know, her or my character, the Marauders, God Kitava. But he does kind of mention it. Alright.
Wisdom of one's faith. I will see you again.
Now, that has been the first dialogue episode, so now I will just resume my quest through the submerged passage and to the prisoner's gate. So, lords and ladies, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.